Yesodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yesodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yesodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yesodanandana Brajajana Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, all glories to all assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. So now we're doing the 12th verse of the 4th chapter, and the second canto, the amazing falling microphone. It was here, and now it's there. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva naruttamam deving saraswati vyasam tatam jayam. Text 12. Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Shri Shuka Uvacha.
Nama
Nama
Parasmai
Parasmai
Purushaya
Purushaya
Bhuyase
Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Vayase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Vayase
Sad Udbhava Stana Nirodha Vilaya Sad Uba. Oh, that's Uba. Is it R or D? Ubhava? Okay. Sad Ubhava Sthana Nirodha Vilaya.
Sad Ubhava
Sad Ubhava Sthana Nirodha Vilaya.
Sad Ubhava Sthana Nirodha
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Anta Bhavayanupalaksha
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha.
One verse to break that down. Earlier it said Anta Bhavayanupalaksha.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha.
And Vardmane Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartame.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Shri Sukha Uvacha Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sad Udbhava Sthana Nirodha Vilaya
Sad Udbhava Sthana Nirodha
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
I'll do one more. Shri Sukha Uvacha Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sat Udbhava Sthana Nirodha Vilaya
Sad Udbhava Sthana Nirodha
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Anta
Someone else?
Sri Sukha Uvacha Nama Parasmai Purushaya Bhuyase
Sadhudvastana Nirodha.
Sadhudvastana Nirodha Vilaya Grihita Shakti Tritayaya Dehinam Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane.
Anta Bhavayanupalaksha Vartmane. Shri Sukha Uvacha Nama Parasmai. Did I say that right?
No, I don't know.
Nama Parasmai.
Oh, that's on one line.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's another line.
You're waiting for
I
us.
can't sometimes can't see. Nama Parasma Parasha Burase.
Nama Parasmai Bhuyase
Sadhu Bhava Stananaroda Lilaye.
Sadhu Bhava Stananaroda.
Grahita Sakti Trita Yaya Dehinam.
Grahita Sakti
Anta Bhavayanu Palaksha Vatmane.
Anta Bhavayanu
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Namah Parashmaya Purushaya Bhuvashyashe.
Namah Parashmaya Purushaya Bhuyase.
Sadhu Bhava Sthana Nirodha Lilaya.
Sadhu Bhava Sthana Nirodha Lilaya.
Vihita Shakti Trita Yaya Dehinam.
Vihita Shakti Trita Yaya Dehinam.
Antar Bhava Yanu Halak Shravar Mane.
Antavarayanu Valakshavarmane.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Namah Parasmaya Purushaya Bhuyase.
Namah
Sadhu Bhava Sthana Nirodha Lilaya.
Sadhu Bhava Stananaroda.
Grahita Shakti Trita Yaya Dehinam.
Grahita Sakti Triyayanam.
Antar Bhavayanu Palakshavartmane.
Antaravayanu.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Namah Parasmaya Purushaya Bhuyase.
Namah Parasmaya Bhuyase. Sadhu Bhava Grahita Shakti Triyayanam.
Antavarayanu Valakshavarmane. Is that everybody? Okay, word for word. Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Shri Sukha Uvacha.
Shri Sukadeva Goswami said,
Shri Sukadeva Goswami said,
Namah,
Namah,
offering obeisances.
offering obeisances.
Parasmai,
Parasmai,
the Supreme.
the Supreme.
Purushaya,
Purushaya,
personality of Godhead.
the personality of Godhead.
Bhuyase,
Who you say,
unto the complete whole.
unto the complete whole.
Sat Upava,
Sadhu Bhava,
the creation of the material world.
the creation of the material world.
Sthana,
Sana,
its maintenance.
its maintenance.
Nirodha,
Nirodha,
and its winding up.
and its winding up.
Lilaya, by
Lilaya,
the pastime of.
by the pastime of.
Grihita,
Grihita,
having accepted.
having accepted.
Shakti,
Shakti,
power.
power.
Tritayaya,
Ekayaya,
three modes.
three moves.
Dehinam,
Dehinam,
of all who possesses material bodies.
of all who possesses material bodies.
Anta Bhuvaya,
Anta Bhuvaya,
unto he who resides within.
unto he who resides within.
Anupalaksha,
Anupalaksha,
inconceivable.
inconceivable.
Brahmane,
Atmane,
one who has such ways.
one who has such ways.
So I'll read the verse, the translation, and then we can repeat. Sukadeva Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who, for the creation of the material world, accepts the three modes of nature. He is complete whole. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone. And his ways are inconceivable." So please repeat. Sukadeva Goswami said,
Sukadeva Goswami said,
"Let me offer my respectful obeisances
let me offer my respectful obeisances
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead,
who,
who,
for the creation of the material world,
for the creation of the material world,
accepts the three modes of nature.
accepts the three modes of nature.
He is the complete whole,
He is the complete whole,
residing within the body of everyone.
residing within the body of everyone.
And his ways are inconceivable.
And his ways are inconceivable.
Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada.
This material world is a manifestation of the three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the Supreme Lord, for the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world, accepts these three predominating forms as Brahma, Vishnu, and Sankara, or Shiva. As Vishnu, he enters into every body materially created. I'll read that again. He enters into every body materially created. It's not one word, everybody, it's two words. As Garbhadakshay Vishnu, he enters into every universe. And as Shirdakshay Vishnu, he enters the body of every living being. Lord Shri Krishna, being the origin of all Vishnu tattvas, is addressed here as Parapuman, or Purushottama, as described in the Bhagavad Gita 15:18. He is the complete whole. The Purusha avatars are therefore his plenary expansions. Bhakti Yoga is the only process by which one can become competent to know him, because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead. He is called Anupalaksha Vartmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. So the verse again is, Sukadeva Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who for the creation of the material world accepts the three modes of nature. He is the complete whole residing within the body of everyone, and his ways are inconceivable." So I should probably read the translation to 15:18, since Barbara has mentioned it here. I'll work with me. I don't have a smartphone, so I can just use the book. So 15:18 is Yasmat Sharam Atitoham Aksharad Api Trottama Atosmi Loke Vedacha Pratita Purushottama. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. So, what has just transpired since the beginning of this particular chapter here is, after the end of the last chapter, Maharaj Parikshit was glorified as a very renounced, maybe the most renounced person on the planet, and that he has the answer to his first question, what is the duty of the intelligent man knowing that he's on the threshold of death, which is that he should hear and chant about the glories of the Lord. So now, Maharaj Parikshit, of course now we're introducing Sutta Goswami, and we all know how Sutta Goswami came into the picture, because his father, Ramaharsana, was elected to be the main, speaker amongst the sages of Namasharanya. So he was sitting on an asana, a vyasana, and Lord Balaram entered their gathering on his way to begin his pilgrimage, because he didn't want to partake in the Kurukshetra battle. And no reason to discuss all that now. But everyone, when they saw Balaram coming in, they understood this was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so they all offered their respects and their oblations, except for Ramaharsana. He was sitting on the seat, and he thought, he actually thought wrongly. He thought that it wasn't necessary for him to offer respects to the Supreme Personality of God. In other words, I think in that pastime, Prabhupada writes something to the effect that he was masking himself as being more spiritually advanced than he actually was. Or at least he had become influenced by his position, and he had false pride. So Lord Balaram removed him of that pride. He took one blade of grass and just touched him with the blade of grass, and the soul left the body, which created a big problem for the speakers, for the sages at Naimisharanya, because they had blessed him with long life, and they had put him in charge of the whole sacrifice. And so Lord Balaram said, "Well, I can bring him back if you want." He said, "No." They go, "No. You're it's no problem. I can get him back." He said, "No. You're the. We don't want to undo what God has done." But so then I can't remember. I think the sages said, I'm not sure. It could have been that Sutta Goswami was his son, and the son or the father lives through the son. So we can place Sutta Goswami in his place, and he is also qualified on these subject matters that we'll be discussing. So he was placed on the seat, but they said that because you've done this, the sages are saying to Balaram, you have to perform a penance. So he then goes off on this pilgrimage all throughout India to all the holy places. I mean, the Supreme Personality of Godhead goes on a pilgrimage. I mean, he doesn't commit sin, but in order to teach, there was two things that happened here. One is he was teaching that you have to be qualified to sit on the seat and speak. And that qualification, part of that, besides knowing Shastra and being able to quote so many verses, it's also humility and respect for the Supreme Lord. And he didn't show that. So Lord Balaram taught him and taught everyone else and taught all of us. And then also Lord Balaram wanted to teach that even no one is above the law. No one is above, if there's some offense committed, it doesn't matter how high a position you have, it must be rectified. And so even he then went on the pilgrimage. So Sutta Goswami is now describing what Sukadeva Goswami says. And the first thing that actually Maharaj Pariksit asked, after becoming, at the end of the last chapter, the first thing that he's now been given this, he's been given the answer to his first question, in a sense. He has, and that you should glorify the Supreme Lord and hear and chant about the glories of the Lord. So he wants to continue hearing. But the first thing he asks is not about the pastimes, the intimate pastimes of the Supreme Lord with the gopis. What he's asking is the first question is, how does the Lord create, maintain, and annihilate the material universe? And the second one is an implied question. It's implicit in what he says, is that how, I don't remember the exact how it says it in the verse, but you can draw the conclusion that he's asking that he is one, but how is it that he expands himself into men? Because he's in the bodies of everyone. And he has all these expansions as Purusha avatars, the different Vishnu incarnations. One is within the universe, one is within every single body. So Maharaj Pariksit wants to know about these things. He doesn't want to start the most intimate. So, and one could ask why, but he's also teaching us the proper approach. And Sukadeva Goswami, he could have, I'm assuming, that he could have easily begun to describe that, but he also is teaching us by the way he answers. The first thing he does is that he begins to pray for the ability to speak on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that he would have the words to properly describe how great Krishna is, how great God is. And that's what actually Maharaj Pariksit is asking is, how great is God? And Sukadeva Goswami feels himself, genuinely feels himself unqualified to speak on that matter. This is the mood of a Vaishnava, that we're not qualified. The Vaishnava understands how insignificant we are, how small we are. And it doesn't matter how many, verses and scriptures you've studied and how long. What matters is if you can get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. Only by His grace, by the Lord's grace, will we be able to describe the glories of the Lord. And they are great. But we first have to, in order to enter into the more intimate pastimes of the Lord, we have to understand just how great Krishna is and how insignificantly small we are. Otherwise, when you hear those pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, we'll misunderstand. We'll compare them to our own mundane activities. And there's no way, after hearing about how great Krishna is, how everything is coming from Him, everything is maintained by Him, everything is destroyed by Him. My ability to speak at this moment, talking, your ability to hear, everything is based on His mercy, on His grace. His mercy is all that we are made of. And that mercy comes through the disciplic succession. So, so in this way, Maharaj Parikshit is asking these questions, but then Sukadeva Goswami goes on for about another 12 verses, glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And starting off by saying, let me offer my respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then glorifying Him, begging for the power to be able to speak and answer these questions to Maharaj Parikshit so that he will have a proper understanding. And not just Maharaj Parikshit, but all the sages of Naimisharanya and all of us throughout the centuries. We're there now in that. These sound vibrations coming from the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is just not a book made of paper and ink. These are not just ordinary words on a page, even though it looks like the same alphabet and everything as some mundane literature. It's a sound vibration, a transcendental sound vibration, that has the ability to awaken our eternal relationship with Krishna, to awaken us. We're in a deep sleep. We don't know who we are. We know what we're not, but we don't know who we are. And a lot of times we forget. We go right back into it. So, in humility, Sukadeva Goswami, for 12 verses, is glorifying the Supreme Lord. He doesn't feel qualified to say how He maintains, how He creates, how He destroys, how He enters into every single body. I mean, just think about it. Like the Brahmajyoti, we always say it's made up of the Jivatmas. But in every Jivatma there's a Paramatma. The people that want to merge into the Brahmajyoti, the impersonalists, Krishna's with them. That Brahmajyoti is also made up of Paramatmas. Every Jiva that's there, there's a Paramatma that's there. In this room, everything, this chair, this floor, this microphone is made up of Paramatmas. Vishnu. He's everywhere. Prabhupada once on a morning walk in Mayapur was saying, Krishna is within every atom and in between every atom. Just like this road we're walking. Krishna is in between every atom and in every atom. And then he said, you should meditate on this. I'm sitting on Krishna. There's nothing that I can do without the mercy of Krishna, without the grace of Krishna. Once I start thinking that I'm the doer or that I have some talent, and it'll all be taken away. If I become advanced now, or I have some abilities or power, it's all coming from Krishna. And at any moment it can be taken away. There's nothing any one of us can do without the blessings of the Lord. Like, for an example, I just thought of this, is that when Krishna and Balaram and the cowherd boys were out one day in the forest, and the cowherd boys were telling Krishna that they were hungry and thirsty. And my recollection is that Krishna and Balaram said, well, there's some Brahmins over here, not too far from here, so why don't you go and ask them for some charity, because Krishna and Balaram are hungry. And they're studying the scriptures, and they're very proud of it. They know all the injunctions within the scriptures, and performing the yagas. So when the cowherd boys go to them, they say that our friend Krishna and Balaram, they're in the forest working with the cows, and we don't have a lunch, and we're very hungry, and was wondering if you could provide something for Krishna and Balaram. And the Brahman's like, you're Vaishyas. Don't you understand? We're Brahmins. We receive charity. You don't. Vaishyas don't ask for charity from Brahmins. Don't you understand anything? And they were very offended by this, and which means that they didn't understand anything, because the whole purpose of their studies and their the conclusions of the Vedas is to satisfy Vishnu, to satisfy Krishna. They did not understand that. They were seeing themselves only as Brahmins externally. So when the cowherd boys went back and told Krishna and Balaram, they Krishna and Balaram said, that's all right. Go to their wives. Their wives, they have natural devotion, natural affection. You go to them, they'll give in charity. So they went to the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys went to the wives, and the wives heard that the Krishna and Balaram, those beautiful boys, they're hungry. Oh yes, please, let's get everything ready. So the wives, they're not studying the Vedas, they're not performing all these yagas, they're not in that position of being the leaders or the heads of the four varnas. They're serving their husbands, but they have a natural affection. They're soft-hearted, and a natural attraction to Krishna. And they didn't consider caste, they didn't consider position, time, place, and circumstance. They just heard that these two beautiful boys, Krishna and Balaram, and their friends are hungry. Let us feed them. This is the part of the secret of Bhakti Yoga. That's why it said the last sentence in here. It dawned on me as I was reading it. Where is it? That last sentence is, let me see what my glasses are. Are we okay? Everybody all right? All right, so, this is the last sentence. It says, because the empiric philosophers and mystic yogis cannot conceive of the personality of Godhead, he is called Anupalaksha Vratmane, the Lord of the inconceivable way, or Bhakti Yoga. I never heard it described quite like that. That Bhakti Yoga is the inconceivable way. It's inconceivable how a fallen person like myself could be entering into this process and have the opportunity to chant the holy name of the Lord and to hear of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because, for generations, no one in the West had this opportunity. And there were very great pious people before I was here, and somehow or other I've been given this opportunity. And I have no qualifications whatsoever. None. Was it because I watched a lot of television? Because I was good in sports, or I liked rock and roll? I knew a lot about the Beatles and Bob Dylan. Was that a qualification? I don't think so. None of those things were qualifications. We had no qualifications, but Prabhupada made us qualified to us. And we have to remember It's not like all of a sudden I'm some big it's like I don't know anything. I'm just starting. Every morning I have to literally, like Bhaktisiddhanta says, I have to beat my mind 100 times so I can hear the holy name. And again at night, beat it again. There's not, advancement is not judged in how much time you put in. It's the qualities we develop. And I haven't really developed very many good qualities. So in order for me to speak, I have to pray to my spiritual master that I can have the intelligence to know what to say. Or pray to Lord Nityananda, who's the original guru. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to explain these things. Sukadeva Goswami is praying for 12 verses. And I thought it was sort of apropos that a similar situation when Srila Prabhupada first arrived in America. I read this on Vyas Puja Day, but this prayer when he first arrived, and I just want you to consider this point. I'll read some of the verses from this prayer. My dear Lord Krishna, you are so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here, otherwise why would you bring me to this terrible place? Most of the population here is covered by the material modes of ignorance and passion, absorbed in material life. They think themselves very happy and satisfied, and therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva Krishna. We didn't even know who Krishna was. I do not know how they will be able to understand it, but I know that your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service? Oh Lord, I am simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. Prabhupada's not guaranteed. He doesn't think, I've studied so much and I prepared so much the whole lifetime now, and now I'll be able to immediately He's saying, I don't know how I'm going to convince them. I don't know. Only by your mercy will I be able to convince. All living entities have come under the control of the illusory energy by your will, and therefore, if you like, by your will, they can also be released from the clutches of illusion. I wish that you may deliver them. It's not praying that I become successful so I can go back and tell the rest of the Gaudiya mouth what I've done. He's praying, I want to deliver these souls at any cost, my health, whatever. Without compromising the principles. I want to deliver them. He's not thinking about what he's going to get out of this. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be happy to understand your message. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I am very unfortunate. This is Prabhupada saying this, and he means this. I am very unfortunate, unqualified, and the most fallen. Therefore, I am seeking your benediction so that I convince them, for I am powerless to do so on my own. Somehow or other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or failure, as you like. Whatever. I have a right to perform my duty, but I don't have a right to enjoy the results. I perform it, whether it's a success or failure, just the fact that I do it. That is the success. Not to be attached or that, I failed. That's based on Krishna's desire. Everything is based on His will, on His desire. We can't do anything without His mercy. If we just follow what He wants, then the results, we may not see the result in this lifetime, but guaranteed whatever we do now will have a good result. Not only for ourselves, but for everyone else. And that should be the real concern. We shouldn't do it out of some selfishness. We should be actually trying to pick up the mood of our founder Acharya and the previous Acharyas. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. Only by your mercy, only by your causeless mercy, will my words become pure. I am sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. Oh my Lord, I am just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, oh Lord, make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta, and now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. Signed the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. And this was on the boat when he first, in Boston Harbor. And here's the result of that prayer. He prayed like this, and the result was, for the next 12 years, 11, 12 years, he preached, he gave classes every day. There's room conversations, morning walk conversations. He wrote, he translated up to the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. He translated the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He wrote summaries of the Sri Upanishad, and then he wrote summary studies of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Nectar of Devotion, the Krishna book, a summary of the 10th canto, so that we can understand the intimate pastimes of Krishna and the gopis, and not see it in some mundane way. But he is begging, just as Sukadeva Goswami is now, after Maharaj Parikshit asked him about what is the great, how is it that Krishna creates? How does he maintain? He's asking because he knows that he has to understand. He knows that Krishna is great, but how great is he? When we see how great he is and how small we are in relationship to him, then we can maybe understand the more intimate pastimes. But we have to be cleansed. We have to be purified. We have to be humble. And I'm speaking to myself. I'm not, like, I hope no one gets the wrong impression here that I'm saying something like to you. I'm just speaking in general. I mean, I'm speaking for myself. Anyway, maybe I should just stop there. Is there anything else? Yes? Oh, yeah, well, just one thing. Okay, just one. The other thing is that, and this is asked by Maharaj Parikshit, that the infinite, the Supreme Personality of God, it enters into the tiny Jivatma's heart. So that means that the infinite personality of God, the eternal personality of God, is within us. How does he do that? That was the other question. So, did you have a question, Kaivalya?
Yes. Since you're kind of going back to the beginning of kind of how things happen, kind of going back. Talking about Sutta Goswami, he came after the whole thing with Parikshit Maharaj and
Right.
Sukadeva Goswami. So what's his connection? Was he sitting there in the Naimisharanya when everything was spoken?
That's my understanding. That's
Yeah.
my understanding. Yeah.
So how long ago? How long?
I'm not sure about that. I've heard different numbers, different time frames, but I'm not absolutely.
But he was junior to Sukadeva Goswami, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, but he was listening and he remembered everything.
Right. He's relaying it to Shaunaka Rishi, who's asking on behalf of the other sages. Shaunaka Rishi is asking him questions, and Sutta Goswami is describing what he had heard.
Okay.
That Sukha is describing to Maharaj Parikshit. And Sutta was in that position because of Balaram, like that. Anything else? No? Yes? What? Oh, yeah, John?
You're talking about Shiva being the creator, the maintainer, and the destroyer.
I didn't say that.
You talking about something about?
I said the Lord Krishna.
Lord Krishna. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Shiva is in charge of the mode of ignorance,
Yeah.
and he's in charge of annihilation.
Yeah, so periodically this goes about. Does this have anything to do with the Indian caste system or karma or what have you not?
Well, I mean, that's part of the material world, is when it's created. You know, we have the 4 varnas and the 4 ashrams. That's within this creation, yes. Is that all? Is that what you were asking?
Well, periodically, what's the reason why he would just be fed up pushing and just say, that's enough, I'll just destroy everything?
You'll have to ask Krishna. I mean, I don't. It's just at a certain time point. I can't answer that right now. Yes, Monica.
That there's a cycle of creation and destruction, as Mahavishnu breathes in and breathes out. It's just part of the cycle. That it's expected that Kali Yuga is going to go down, down, down. And then it's going to be renewed, because within the big cycle, there's little cycles of 4 ages. And Satya Yuga is going to come, everything's going to be purified again. And it's going to start up, then it's going to gradually go down over millions of years. And then start again at Satya Yuga when things are pure. And eventually, it's time to wrap up the whole thing. And then it goes back into Mahavishnu, and then it comes down, he creates it again. It's just a regular thing. It's expected to. These things are expected to go on.
Yes?
And that's why Shiva has a drum.
What?
I think Shiva has the drum beating the ticks of time or something.
I don't know.
Somebody said.
I'm sorry.
But it's actually that breath in and out, a specific amount of time.
Really? Where did you hear that?
The number of years or yugas, actually it's
Shiva's
yugas.
keeping time
No,
with his drums?
Yeah, but Vishnu
But where did you hear
has
that?
a specific.
Where did you hear that?
That was a non-sectarian comment from somebody. It might have been
Maybe.
Carl Sagan or somebody.
It's part
It might have been. It was not legitimate. It might have
Okay.
been a Carl Sagan comment on Cosmos,
All
but it was a specific time for the breath, for the day, and for the breath has a specific period of time.
And why that is, I don't know.
Because
Why Krishna decides
but he
that that's
specifies.
the length, that's something I don't recall reading that. And that's why I'm praying that I will have the intelligence to know. But this is realized knowledge also. It's
Yeah.
not just a question of reading a book and then memorizing what I just read. It's realized knowledge. And this process, I mean, we must understand this with our intelligence. Prabhupada said, but ultimately, you will not realize God completely or your relationship with Him just by your intellect. The intellect will help purify you so that you will act in such a way that you'll develop the right qualities, the right mood for serving. That everything that you do, mam chayo vyapicharena bhakti yogena sevati, saguna samatitatam brahmaguraya kapite, atak Sri Krishna namadi namavet indriyasvayam, sevamukhi jivata, that all your senses will become saturated with devotion. And all your acts, all your thoughts, all your words will be saturated with devotion, with love. Then slowly, slowly, Krishna reveals more and more. Like the story of Dukhi Krishna. You know, he's doing some humble service, sweeping the Seva Kunj, where they do the Ras Leela dance. And if you think about it, you know, one of those brushes, usually, you know, those they have in India, they're like sticks, and how are you going to brush away the dust there? I mean, all it is just a little grove of trees with dirt, and he's constantly cleaning it all day long with great devotion. And then one day he comes across, it's brilliant. It's like, it was so bright. It was like looking into the sun. and it was an ankle bell in the dust. And he knew this was not of this world. So he took it and he hid it. Then a little bit later, some time passes, and an elderly woman comes and says, "Have you seen my daughter-in-law's very, very absent-minded. She's always losing things. And she's lost her ankle bells. Have you seen an ankle bell here somewhere?" And he goes, "Oh." And he immediately realized this is not an ordinary person either. And he says, yes, come with me. And when he turns around, he sees Lalita. I think today has something to do with Lalita too, isn't it? Is today the appearance day of Lalita? Lalita Shasti or something. Anyway, it's Lalita, one of the gopis who's an associate of Radharani. And she takes him, Dukhi Krishna, into the internal pastimes. And he brings the ankle bells, and it's Radharani's. And he gets then the information about his role in the internal pastimes. So that, I want to get all into that, but that's the way it happens. I mean, for at least in this case, I'm sure for each individual, there is many ways for it to happen as Krishna desires. Krishna is unlimited. Everything is, and this whole universe, which we're so impressed with, as a matter of fact, everyone is impressed that Maharaj Parikshit is willing to give up the entire empire. And to Krishna, it's just a dust particle. This entire empire, this entire universe is just one mustard seed in a barrel of mustard seeds. Our Brahma, when he goes to see Vishnu on the right, he goes and he's asked, the gatekeepers ask, "Well, who are you?" And he says, "Well, I'm Brahma. I'm the Brahma, the charge of the universe." And Narayan, Vishnu asks, "Well, which Lord Brahma? The one with 4 heads, the one with 10 heads, the one with 80 heads, the one with 800 heads, the one with 1,000,000 heads?" And when he finally is let in, he sees a whole. He's like a mosquito on the back of an elephant. There's so many Brahmas with so many heads. And that whole cloud that you see in the cover of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is 1/4 of the creation, is just a fragment of Krishna's opulence. That's what he says in the Bhagavad Gita. With this whole creation, I maintain it, it's just a fragment of my energies, which we think is so amazing to see the sun rise. It is amazing, but it's insignificant compared to what is happening every day. Everything is constantly increasing. Krishna's beauty is constantly increasing. The devotees, the gopis, the cowherd boys, the Jasoda and Nanda, the devotees in parental, and the devotees that are in the Shantaras, it's constantly increasing their ecstasy, their love, their joy, their devotion. It's never, ever decreasing. And we can't. It's, to put it into words is something that people like Lord Brahma tried to do in his Brahma Samhita, and surely I can't compete with that. And we only got 1 chapter of the Brahma Samhita. Anything else? Okay then, Jai. All glories to Srimad.
All right, thank you very much.